Good evening and welcome to a very special 2-hour Now That's Weird, starting off in Series 2 with me, Ross Hemsworth. Now, how many of you out there have been on a spiritual journey? A journey that's taken you from, I suppose you would say, skeptic to believer. I have. I've been through that journey, and everybody that I've spoken to has taken that journey in a different way. But whichever way you've taken yours, you will certainly know this man's story. Perhaps not as well as you think, though. With me in the studio tonight and for the next 2 hours, we're going to be looking at the story of one man who's almost led the way in journeys themselves. Let me introduce to the world, online and on EMTV, Mr. David Icke. David, good evening.
Hello, Ross.
Now, it's brilliant to have you here, David, and I know you don't do live television very often, so this is a real treat for us here to be able to do this, and thanks for joining us.
Well, you know, this is a great night for me because it wasn't too many years ago that I couldn't fill a phone box, and, you know, I've been speaking to the dog when the man didn't turn up. And here we are, literally giving the world the opportunity to hear this information. And, you know, there's lots of things happening in the world that aren't good, and this whole Orwellian Big Brother state is moving forward, apparently with ever-increasing speed. But we should not forget that some fantastic things are happening. There's a great awakening going on. And in so many ways, this program tonight and this channel in general is a physical expression of just how far we've come. Because we, through the internet and through television organizations like this, can now challenge the suppression of the mainstream media, which is the key block in the public in general receiving information, to let them see that the view of the world and the perception of the world that we're told from cradle to grave to believe in is not the only one.
Absolutely. Well, let's start at the beginning, because a lot of people know what you went through when you did the Terry Wogan interview. I want to go back prior to that.
I'm the son of God.
That's it, you're nuts, aren't you? That's the fella.
I'm a nutter. He's a nutter. Come on, Ethel, he's a nutter. That nutter's on.
Yeah, that's why they're all tuning in tonight. There was some more of that. But no, seriously, before that, you had a psychic talk to you and predict certain things to you. Now, let's take the story from there, because I find that really interesting, what happened to you and your reflection of that. Bearing in mind at the time, as you said to me beforehand, you were just commentating on snooker. You knew about Jimmy White, nothing about this stuff.
Yeah. Actually, the first psychic I went to a clairvoyant, and when I got there was a note. It said, closed due to unforeseen circumstances, which I thought, quite funny. But no, the one we're talking about was a life-changing moment, because what happened is, you know, I'm living my life. I've been a professional soccer player, arthritis finished that. I was in television and journalism and national spokesman for the British Green Party. But towards the end of the 1980s, some very strange things started happening to me. Not least when I was in a room alone, it increasingly felt I was not alone. Now, there's no one physically in the room, but there was a presence. And this got more and more powerful through 1989. And I got to the point in early 1990, I remember it, I was in a hotel, the Kensington Hilton Hotel, working for the BBC. And this presence had got so powerful that I sat on the edge of the bed and I said, if there's something there, would you please contact me, because you're driving me up the wall. A few days later, I'm playing football with my son, Gareth, who's a big fella now, little lad then. And we were going to have some lunch in a little cafe on the railway station at the seafront after the football. And someone stopped me and started talking to me. And then when we finished talking, I realized Gareth wasn't there. But I knew he was in this news shop selling the newspapers and the books. And I walked in and I said to him, come on, Gaz, we'll go and get some lunch. At that point, as I turned to move, my feet were stuck to the ground, right? And it was like two magnets were pulling my feet to the ground. And of course, you know, what the heck's going on here? And then I heard, not a voice, but a really strong thought form pass through my mind, because we're just decoding them. They appear as words because that's how we decode vibrations into language. It's what the brain does. But what I heard, and it didn't come from me, was go and look at the books on the far side. Go and look at the books on the far side. I mean, feet stuck to the ground, what the hell's going on? So I went over in a state of total bewilderment, and in among the books, among the romantic novels, was this one book with a woman's face on the front. And I picked it up and I turned it over, and I immediately saw in the blurb the word psychic. And what struck me immediately was, well, could this woman tell me what the heck I'm feeling around me in this presence? So I read the book in 24 hours, went to see her, and all I told her was that I had arthritis, which I have, finished my football career, and I don't take drugs for it, never have. So maybe her hands-on healing would help. I told her nothing else. So I went a couple of times, and it was interesting. We're talking about other dimensions and stuff. All made sense to me. Because up to that point, I'd rejected conventional religion. I'd rejected the idea that what bravely calls itself science says that this is all a cosmic accident and, life's a bitch and then you die. But what was the alternative? Now this is when this started. And I went a couple of times and it was fine. And then the third time, I'm lying there on the bench and she's doing this hands-on healing near my left knee here. And I suddenly felt this like spider's web on my face. And this took me back because when I'd read her book, she was talking about, when other dimensions are trying to connect into you, sometimes you feel a spider's web on your face. Well, I never have since, and I never did before, but at that moment, on that one day, it was really powerful. So I feel this spider's web, and my bum's starting to slip down. What's going on? I read about this in her book. I never said anything to her, but about 10 to 15 seconds later, she's doing the hands-on healing, and then she launches her head back, and she goes, my God, I'm going to have to close my eyes for this one. And I'm going, close my eyes for what? What?
What's happening?
This is March 1990. And she starts telling me this and figure in her mind, and which is just the projections that she can relate to from this reality. It's energy, it's the consciousness. And that this is telling her that to tell me things like, we confirm, I'm introducing the sport on the BBC at the time, and now I was being told that I was going to go out eventually on a world stage and reveal great secrets, that I was going to write 5 books in 3 years on these subjects. Sounded ludicrous to me. I don't know nothing about these subjects. What do you want, sort of stuff. And one man cannot change the world, but one man can communicate the message that can change the world. That was another line I remember. And that there was going to be what was described as a spiritual revolution. And humanity was basically going to wake up from its amnesic state. All of which, you're talking to a sports presenter, But something on a deep level said, this is right. I'm going to go with this. This is going, what's going on? What's going on? What's happening to me life? Something deeper was saying, go with this. And so many, many synchronistic things happened after that. And I left the BBC. They got rid of me, which was brilliant because I probably wouldn't have left otherwise. And I started putting a book together called Truth Vibrations, which was the title was about what I was being told by this psychic, that she was being told to tell me that there was going to be a vibrational change, and that was going to open up people from their amnesic state. There seemed no sign of it then. My goodness me, are you kidding today?
Absolutely.
It's happening. And so I started writing this book through 1990, and then the key moment, really, I guess, that really launched me into this and launched me into mass ridicule was towards the end of 1990. I kept getting this feeling I had to go to Peru. And where it was coming from, I don't know, or didn't know. And I kept coming across things relating to Peru, in the synchronistic way.